RV market meltdown. What's happening and why you should care.
And boy, do we have some information for you. This RV market has just gone bonkers. The outlook for RV manufacturers isn't positive right now. You may have heard earlier this month about a major manufacturer reporting significant decreases in RV sales. And they aren't alone. We're going to discuss with you more about that particular company, along with several other major manufacturers that are experiencing declines in sales and in their stock prices. These reports are a little bit delayed, so in June we get April's report, and then in July we'll get May's report. So let's dig into this. First, let's review the latest RV market report for April of 2024. Now, and I'm gonna read my screen a little bit because I don't want to mess up any of these numbers. There are a lot of numbers, John.
You can't remember all of this?
I can't remember all these numbers. Okay.
I'm shocked.
The monthly wholesale new unit report shows an almost 10% increase in RV shipments from April 2023. However, this can be misleading, right? You see there's an increase and you think, okay, things are good. But we know for a fact that RV dealerships have been sort of like holding up on getting some of those shipments because they still have stocks of 2023s, 2024s, and now the 2025s are starting to roll in as well. So let's break down this by segment. And you know, we're motorized RVers, so we're going to spend some time digging into the motorized sector because that's kind of where we live, right?
Yeah, Class A's. That's where we are.
So towable shipments overall increased by 14.2% from last year. And what we're seeing is that people are purchasing towables like travel trailers more frequently right now than they're purchasing the motorized RVs. And I think one of the reasons for that is that they're less expensive.
They are. They're very much so.
They're much more affordable, especially if you're just starting out in RVing, especially with the prices that we're seeing. We've seen over the past couple of years.
Yeah, they're ridiculous now.
Yeah, but that's changing, and we'll get to that. Nevertheless, despite the rise in towable shipments, motorized shipments have decreased by 19.4%. The most significant declines are in the Class A and the Class B RV segments, with Class A's experiencing, ready for this, John?
Yeah, I think.
A 33% drop.
Oh my gosh.
And Class B's, a 32.3% drop.
That's 1/3 of the market right there.
Exactly. And then finally, Class C's, which are like the bread and butter of motorized. So they're like the most popular type of motorized RV that's purchased. Their shipments fell by 11.1%. Not as bad as the other motorized.
But for the most popular segment, that is a lot.
It is. And you know, when it comes to the Class B's, for example, they're thinking that part of the reason why the Class B segment has dropped so much is that back when it was harder to get Class A's and Class C's, a lot of people bought Class B's instead. They kind of settled for that. And now that, you know, you can get Class A's and you can get Class C's, they're kind of moving more away from that because of the way that they want to camp and travel.
Right. I mean, they are a special type of RVing. You know, the vans they're a little tight.
And they're not for everybody.
No, they're not.
Shipments isn't the only way to look at the health of the market. One of the other things you have to look at are registrations. Okay. You want to know how many people are actually going down to their motor vehicle and registering new RVs, because that's the real tell. Because you can ship and then it can sit.
Oh, they do.
And you want to see what's actually getting bought. I'm going to roll up my sleeves over here.
Oh, she means business now.
According to Statistical Surveys, Inc., there were 34,831 retail registrations recorded in April of 2024. That is a 9.8% decline compared to the 38,628 in April of 2023.
We're actually declining in registrations as well as sales.
It's shipments.
As shipments, I mean.
Yes. Not quite as much, but there's still not as many people who are buying. And we have some ideas on why that's happening. And we're also going to share with you why some of these CEOs think it's happening. I don't think the CEOs have it all right, but we'll get to that in just a minute. The RV Industry Association, which is the RVIA, reports that retail RV registrations are down 9.8% from April of last year, with motorized vehicles hit the hardest. There were only 685 Class A units sold in April, marking a 22% decrease from April of 2023.
This is bad.
It's almost like every year gets worse, right? Like you had this really steep incline back in 2020, 2021, when people really couldn't travel.
Right.
Prices, the MSRPs for RVs just were becoming artificially high, I believe. Now, I know that there were issues with parts and things like that, and that caused it to increase a little bit more. But I think we're past that, right?
Yeah.
But these prices just like, it was unbelievable how expensive these RVs were getting.
Yeah, the MSRPs were off the charts.
Yeah, and like even the RV that we bought, we got ours in 2021. If we were to go back and get it in 2022, it was over $50,000 more.
It was.
So manufacturers, and we're not just talking about, you know, the small manufacturers, right?
No.
We're talking about these are big, well-known powerhouses in the RV industry. So manufacturers like Thor owns just about everything out there, right? They own like so many different RVs.
They do. They own way too much right now.
And then you have Winnebago, you have Rev RV. They are all feeling the impact of this drop in sales.
They really are.
It is really affecting their bottom line, and they're having to pivot to think about what they can do to rectify all this.
Now, this is starting to worry me because in my mind, this means to me that small manufacturers are going to do one of two things. They're either going to go under or they're going to be bought up by a large manufacturer.
They're going to be bought up by a Thor, Winnebago.
Yes.
You know, all those companies. And the other thing that really concerns me about this, John, and I'm really worried about those small RV dealerships. Now, we've started to see this already over the past year. There have been a lot of smaller dealerships that have been bought up by the bigger, you know, Blue Compass or General RV, and they're just kind of sucking them all up because an RV dealer like General RV has probably the cash flow to be able to sustain a very bad market.
Yeah.
These smaller RV shops don't have those same reserves, right? Yep. And we have information from some very small RV dealerships that we are familiar with and we're building relationships with.
We spoke to one.
Exactly. And they're saying that they're barely breaking even.
Right. And they mentioned also that they did get an offer.
Oh yeah, from one of the big RV dealerships. Came around and said, this is what we like to give you for your dealership. And I think if things get bad enough, you're going to see a lot more of it because you can't sustain just breaking even. That's not why people have businesses. They need to be able to make a profit.
They do.
So I'm really worried about that because I think that some of the best service we've gotten is from a small dealership.
Yeah, it's the very best service. They've been great.
The best quality RVs we've seen is from small dealerships because there's some of these small dealerships won't take, you know, just anything. They're not pushing out for volume, and they really want to focus on how they can keep their customer coming back, right? They don't want to just sell you one RV and then you're out the door and they don't really care because there are 20 more waiting. They want to build that relationship with you and have you come to them for service. And they want you to have them come to them when you're ready to go to your next RV.
Well, they need the repeat customers.
They do.
They need them.
But I think they need them and they want them.
They do want them,
right?
Yes.
So I'm really, really concerned about that. Okay, let's get back to this. Earlier this month, Thor Industries warned about falling demand in North America and cut its full year revenue and earnings per share estimates. So their CEO, who is Bob Martin, he cited macroeconomic conditions as a continuing headwind, according to the article in Investopedia. Now, Winnebago, which also owns Newmar and they own Grand Design, they reported a net loss of $12.7 million in fiscal quarter 2.
Wow.
Indicating a sharp decrease in revenues.
That is a sharp decrease.
And you know, I wonder how much like all of the issues with Grand Design might have to do with with the frame flex.
Yes.
And, I think now they've extended their warranty because of it, and they've done a lot of NDAs and some buybacks and things like that. So I don't know. RV News recently reported that, and this is the initial manufacturer we were talking about. And, we own a Fleetwood, so
Yes.
we're in that Rev RV family,
We
right?
are.
RV News recently reported that Rev Group's financial report for the second quarter of fiscal year 2024 showed a significant decrease in its recreational vehicle segment. Now, for those of you who don't know, not only does Rev own American Coach, Fleetwood, Holiday Rambler, Lance, and Renegade RV, but they also have a segment that puts out some construction equipment and emergency vehicles. Rev Group's RV net sales fell to 179.7 million. That is a 30% decrease compared to the same period last year.
Ouch.
Earnings have dropped by 58% from the second quarter of fiscal year 2023.
Oh my gosh, that's more than half.
That's more than half. And you know that there's probably going to be a big shakeup. There has to be.
There has to be a
to
change.
deal with such a great
Well,
loss.
see, the problem here is I know what they're probably going to do first. And it's what is called decontenting.
Yeah, so a lot of RV manufacturers, decontenting is their way of being able to offer cheaper or less expensive RVs. But I think it's going to go deeper than that. I wouldn't be surprised if we started to see some layoffs, some cutting back on offerings, like within the lines that they have, like so some models disappearing.
Oh, they've already done that.
Exactly,
They've
have
gotten
done
rid
that.
of
You're
floor
right.
plans.
They have, and I think you're going to see. You probably might see more of that.
Okay.
But that's just speculation. We haven't talked to anybody at Rev.
No,
If
we
anybody at
haven't.
Rev wants to chime in, please feel free to put it in the comments below.
Oh, sure.
So according to RV News, Rev Group's RV shipments have declined by 43% compared to this same time period last year. Their towable shipments decreased by 70%, and that's a lot. 70%?
And that's for towables.
That's like Lance travel trailers, right?
Right.
That's like they're really big. And then new motorized RV shipments through April were down by 22%.
Wow.
That's
now
a
I
lot.
see why their revenue is down by more than half.
So let's see what the president and CEO of Rev has to say about this. His name is Mark Scognazini. I cannot pronounce that. Can you pronounce that name?
Skanitsi?
That's probably better than what I can say it, but you can see it. We'll put it on the screen so you can see what his name is. And if you know how to pronounce it, just put that phonetical pronunciation down in the comments for us because I don't
Yes.
have a clue.
We
Anyway, he stated that the 2025 model year orders have been weaker than anticipated.
Yes.
And we see that most definitely,
We
right?
do.
And his reasoning behind that, he's saying that the overall industry demand for motorized RVs, which account for more than 90% of what Rev Group does,
Right.
remains low. And the reason he says this, and I think he's on point with some of it. He's saying that there are certain factors impacting consumer purchasing, such as high interest rates.
Definitely.
That's an impact. Increased floor plan costs.
Yeah.
Well, the cost of the RVs are more.
They are
right?
more, yes.
Negative trade-in values.
Yes, that's, yeah, it's bad.
Because new RVs go down, used RVs aren't going to go up in
No.
price. They're going to go down.
They are.
By the same amount or if not more sometimes, right?
Yes.
He's saying interest rates, increased floor plan costs, negative trade-in values for RVs bought from 2020 to 2023.
Yes, and I wonder why those specific years.
Well, we know why those specific years, right? We've done enough RV tours to know that the quality just has been decreasing so much.
It has been.
Over the years, and what these manufacturers put out, it's just unbelievable, but we'll get to that. So I'm going to add something to his list.
Okay.
I'm going to add poor quality. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm on point with this or if I'm just totally off on it. But I do think that people are getting tired of spending, and let's be real, right? You buy a motorized RV, you're spending $100,000.
Yes.
Even if you're buying a travel trailer. I mean, I don't care if it's a $20,000 travel trailer. That's your money.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
That is a very
right?
a
To
lot
get
of-
something that we continuously hear the stories of people whose RVs are sitting in dealership lots waiting to get fixed. We met a guy at Rev RV.
Yeah.
He had his RV for almost a year and a half, and
yeah.
still had a huge list of things that were big things. I mean, he couldn't even he couldn't use the bathrooms,
No.
I mean, the slides. I mean, nothing worked. And he'd been sitting at a dealership for over a year getting fixed, and finally he had to bring it to Rev.
Yep.
And leave it there.
Yeah, that was horrible because it was him and his little daughter, and they had to
Yes.
leave the RV to go use a local restroom somewhere.
Yes, it was terrible. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. But let us know, whether or not you agree with what we think is really, or at least contributing to the decline in RV sales, in addition to the economic factors already mentioned. So what does this mean for you? This really does impact you, particularly if you are looking to sell your RV, because if you are going to notice a significant decrease in your RV's value.
Yes.
They have been dropping. Check RV Trader. And there are lots of ways to check the value of your RV. You can go to RV Trader, you can go to RV Blue Book. I think RV Trader is probably a better gauge because you're going to see, really what your RV is worth is what people are willing to pay for it, and that's what you're going to see on RV Trader. And I think looking there, you can see what the prices are, and then you can look at, which ones are moving, actually getting sold, and which ones are staying, right? Like I bet you put a Fleetwood Bounder 35K out there, if we would have listed for $140,000, which we probably could have done last year, it would sell. It would have sold. But that now it's going to sit.
Maybe.
I'm seeing a lot of them out there, and I know you're probably going to be surprised by this because you probably haven't looked at it recently.
I haven't looked lately, no.
But I'm seeing a value of about $110,000, $115,000. Those are the ones that are moving.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're looking to sell, I don't know if you want to wait, what you want to do with that. But I know that John and I, we've been in the market for a diesel pusher for a long time. We bought one last year, didn't work out because it was not in the best shape, and we didn't take delivery of it.
Well, that's putting it lightly.
Well, we ordered it, and when it came in, it wasn't in good shape. We didn't take delivery of it. But I think now we're probably going to have to hold on to our Bounder a little bit longer.
Yes, we probably will. No, we definitely will.
Yeah. Okay. If you are planning to buy, you can find incredible deals right now on new RVs, particularly at the dealerships that still have 2023 models. I was looking last week. I saw American Coaches listed for 50% off.
Ooh.
There's some 2023s, 50% off, and other Class A RVs were 50% off or more. And I actually saw 2024s, they were like around the 47, 48, and this is all before negotiations, right?
Yes.
So you haven't even got, this is like their sales price. And you go in there at the sales price.
Excuse me.
And you go in there and then you start negotiating and you bring it down even lower.
And that's so tempting except for the interest rates.
Well, yeah, so if you have the money,
yes.
if you have the cash, it's great, right? But then you have to also consider, okay, I might be paying more in the interest rate, but what am I saving with the amount off? And you kind of have to do the math and figure it out, right?
Right.
I mean, we all know the interest rates that we've had have been like crazy good. Like when we bought our first house, we were like 10, 11% interest rate
bad
back then. And then, we lucked out and market got good, and then we got like our mortgage down to like 2% interest rate, right?
Yeah, that was great.
That's like that was a very unique time.
It was.
But if you can negotiate well, if you can, you don't necessarily even have to get an RV loan, because RV loans are very expensive to purchase your RV. There are other ways that you can do it where it's that you're paying less interest on that RV, or like I said, if you have cash, that's great. Or if you want to buy now, refinance later. There are lots of ways to do it. We're not financial analysts or anything like that, so don't take our advice because I don't know what I'm doing with money. But you can get a very good deal, and it's up to you to do the math and figure out what's best for you. But there are some amazing deals with both new and used RVs right now.
There are.
To us, John, what does this mean? Ideally, we are really hoping, for the sake of the industry, that RV manufacturers will recognize that consumers won't tolerate poor quality RVs, because that is what is happening. People are willing to pay for a quality product. I mean, I would pay more if I knew the quality was good and it was
Right.
worth the money. I would pay for it to know that I'm not going to have to take my RV back and wait 3 years to get the whole thing fixed. People are willing to pay for quality and avoid poorly made products, especially in challenging economic times.
Like now.
Could this be why the sales are plummeting? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're curious about the quality of RVs, just check out this video over here.
Of course.